another important region in this particular in Africa is Horn of Africa, and we need to understand the terrorist threat in this region as well. So Horn of Africa actually consists of few countries, as you can see in this particular part: Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Eritrea. So these are the states which are facing extreme violence in the region. And Somalia is actually the epicenter of militancy and terrorism and extremism by Al-Shabaab militants, who are actually linked with Al-Qaeda militant, which is a transnational terrorist organization. So Al-Shabaab militants, they are actually carrying out some high-profile attacks in the region, in Horn of Africa, and they are closely aligned with Al-Qaeda. So if you quickly look at the situation in Africa, in Somalia, it's a war-ravaged country. It is facing extreme poverty, corruption, instability, and global, because of the global warming, it is suffering from shortage of natural resources and other commodities. So socioeconomic deprivation, illiteracy, and weak security forces has led to strong Al-Shabaab militants. And Al-Shabaab militants, they are very strong here in this area, Somalia. Although there are many initiatives by the US and the local security forces to curb this militant organization, but still this organization is intact and they are carrying out violence at extreme level. So they have got about 9,000 fighters, and they are working under the patronage of Al-Qaeda, and of course Islamic State is also operating in this region. In one of the devastating attack by Al-Shabaab militants, it took place in 2017, which killed about 500 innocent civilians in the area. So such type of attacks are new normal in Somalia, and Al-Shabaab militants, they are very effectively they are carrying out operations not only in Somalia but also in the neighboring countries like Kenya. So 180 soldiers of the Kenyan military were also killed by Al-Shabaab militants in 2016. Al-Shabaab militants, they are following the modus operandi of other terrorist organizations. In brutality, they are not behind these terrorist organizations. So they also carried out attack against a university. It was just an APS type of attack in which they killed more than 148 innocent students, and mostly the Christian students. They were killed in the Garissa University, and this was also one of the devastating attack in the history of terrorism and extremism, especially in Somalia and Africa. So if you look at the threat perception in Africa or in the Horn of Africa, you will analyze the Al-Shabaab militants. They are not only carrying out an attack in Somalia, but they are also involved in many other countries, regional countries like, for example, Kenya, Uganda. They have been involved in many terrorist activities, and they killed hundreds and thousands of people in recent times. So United States of America is also carrying out regular drone strikes against Somalian militants, like, for example, Al-Shabaab militants. And so far, more than 244 drone strikes have taken place in recent times, in which about 1,400 to 1,800 people were killed. And there were also a considerable amount of civilians who were killed in these drone strikes. The United States of America also initiated Operation Juniper Shield, and this particular operation is actually to enhance their counter-terror capabilities, especially the local states in Horn of Africa. And it has the Americans have established joint task force in Djibouti to support special operations. The US have also deployed about 2,000 personnel for intelligence sharing, for close air support, for specialized operations, for coordination in surveillance and reconnaissance mission, for targeting the militants in the area. So the US have also deployed about 500 special forces personnel in Somalia just to support the local security forces against specialized operations against Al-Shabaab militants, against Al-Qaeda and other terrorist organizations in the region. So far, the US have been successful in killing their top leadership. In 2008, their top leader, Aden Hashi Airo, and in 2014, Ahmed Abdi Godane, they were targeted in the drone strikes, but this is not enough. The drone strikes are not the solution to the problem in Africa or in Somalia. If you kill a drone, a top leader, so they replace us, in a quick manner. They replace that particular leader on the next day, and the cycle of terrorism and extremism, it moves on. So the ultimate solution to the problem is the concrete steps, and you need to clear the area. You need to deny these terrorist organizations from having any physical space in Somalia, in Nigeria, or in any other part of the Africa. So far, the U.S. counter-terror efforts, it revolved around U.S. AFRICOM, and the Americans have carried out surveillance and reconnaissance in the area, and they got intel about the militants. They also carried out drone strikes against these militant groups. United States of America provided financial assistance to the local countries to improve their overall human security aspect. Special operations were also conducted by the U.S., especially in Horn of Africa and Sahel region. And diplomatic engagement was also there. Training and advice is taking place in the region. And of course, intelligence sharing is very important, and they are taking place in the region. So US, along with France and many other countries, they are trying to improve the security situation in Africa, but still they are lagging behind. Since last decade, the US has spent about $6.5 billion in Africa to counter terrorism and extremism, but still they are short of their goals because Africa is too big. It is 30 million square kilometer area and a population of about 1.3 billion. So, deploying a 7,000 troops and allocating only $6.5 billion does not make sense, and it is not going to resolve the situation in Africa unless or until you improve the capacity of the local security forces. The American funding for AMISOM. AMISOM is the African Union Mission in Somalia, or to Somalia, and this particular mission is a collective effort of the African nations to bring peace and stability in Somalia. So the Americans have spent about $2 billion in last decade just in humanitarian assistance and just trying to improve the security situation in Somalia.